Hey guys, what's going on? It's that time again, Wednesday night, 9 o'clock. We talk about models. So I appreciate everybody being here. Hope you've had a good week so far. I have. Lots and lots of things going on around the shop at Squadron. I always refer to this time, and this time happens every month or two, as the calm before the storm. And what I mean by that is we've got a massive amount of new products that are about to be here starting tomorrow and running through the next week or two. Just all sorts of new, exciting kits that they're going to be great. They sell well. We've sold a lot of them. But personally, for me, I'm extremely excited about a few of them in particular. So we'll get into that in a few minutes. But first, I want to make sure and say hello to everybody in the chat tonight. So, hey, Randy, nice to see you this evening. And Dennis, nice to see you as well. And that's great to know that you've downloaded the app. Our mobile app is live for iPhones. And it's supposed to be live for iPads, but we've got some issues with that. But we're working through those, and you should see an update that will be available. I don't know, maybe this evening even, but within the next couple of days there'll be an update, our first update. To fix some initial issues that we have already run into. I guess that's just par for the course with launching an app like this. You always run into little things that you were not expecting, but the guys that are on our developers team that are handling those problems, they're really good. They know what they're doing, and they're going to get that taken care of. If you are not an iPhone user and you've got an Android phone and you download your apps from the Google Play Store, that's coming. It's just taking us a little bit longer to get that version up in the Google Store for whatever reason. There's a lot of technical reasons that I won't get into, but it is coming, so stay tuned for that. As soon as that is launched, I will certainly send out emails and everything else and let you know that that's ready, and then you'll be able to download that as well. But for now, iPhone users, I hope you are enjoying our app. The the initial amount of customers that have downloaded it so far is far more than what I was expecting and hoping for. So I'm really pleased. I'm happy, and I really hope that you guys are enjoying it. And there will be more to come on that. This is just step one, getting that working. So we'll see where it goes and see how that evolves. So anyway, moving on down the list here, Ted's Scale Modeling. Nice to see you. Crazy Loaches, see you again, as always. And Barry and Joseph. Wes, good evening to you as well. And not models, it is TV time, buddy. Good to see you tonight. Carlos, good to see you. And Charles and Jeremiah was a bullfrog once again. Nice to see you tonight, buddy. Matt Johnson is here. Good to see you. And Greg, 411 Maintainer is here. And David Waples, he's here again. Good to see you again tonight, David. And that was a great idea today, by the way, on the, we've got our private warehouse going. David was interested to know if we could do sort of like a club, model club warehouse. So if all of their club wants to go in together and place an order, would we ship it all together so that they can benefit from our free shipping? And absolutely. You just got to have one guy in your club. We put the order under his name and we ship it all to that one place. And then you can, take it to your club meeting and divvy it out how you see fit. But if your club is interested in doing that and buying as a club, so you can all benefit together with our free shipping, give me a call. We'd be happy to hook you up, and we're going to make that an official part of our private warehouse soon. So, great idea, David. We appreciate it. And yes, Crazy Loach, a lot of information hitting about the Nuremberg show. Lots of new releases. I've just started being able to look through and see some of the announcements. A lot of things that we kind of knew about, but we weren't sure if they were going to be official. Well, they've been made official now, so lots of cool stuff. And we'll be posting some things up in our future pre-orders section soon. So look forward to seeing that. And Scotty, good to see you tonight, coming to us from California. And and Jason, you are correct. There is not any progress to show and speak of on the door. It is, see right there, still sitting behind me in the same place it was last week, unfortunately. But the reason is I have done what I was trying not to do. And what I was trying not to do was get sidetracked on other models until I got that done. Well, I'm probably not the only one in this room tonight that's gotten sidetracked and started on another project, or in my case, pulled out an old project to try to continue on. And that's exactly what happened. And we'll talk about some of my projects in a little bit, but hopefully I'll get back to the door soon. But it's good to see you tonight. And Deacon coming to us from Illinois. Yeah, that X Plus Dracula kit, I don't know. So they announced that thing last year along with a lot of other kits, and apparently there has been some issues with the licensors and going back and forth trying to, I guess, have the sculpt exactly how the licensors want. I don't know all the details, but nonetheless, it's been delayed time and time again, and at this moment, I don't know exactly what they are thinking as far as a release date. They claim it's going to be released this year. The next release from them, I believe we're getting the seated version of the Maria, and that may be one of the things that's coming in tomorrow, actually. So we'll have those finally, and then after that, the very next one will be their Spinosaurus from the Jurassic Park series. Um, and after that, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be the Marilyn Monroe on her tour. What's next after that? I can't remember. I think they're doing another Jurassic Park set after that, the Velociraptors or something. So, oh, somewhere in there, maybe before the Marilyn Monroe, is the Rhedosaurus, the Ray Harryhausen Rhedosaurus. But so you got all these things, and no mention of Dracula's release date to us yet. So I'm hoping it's still coming this year. They claim it is. We'll just have to wait and see, I suppose. And let's see, MH53 J Tom, do we plan on carrying Airfix? Yes, we do carry Airfix. I just don't get a lot of their stuff as often as I would like. You'll find it on our website right now. A lot of the stuff that we've had sitting around for a long time is currently being blown out in our closeout section. So if there's any of those kits, you can grab up one of those at a good price right now. But they've got some new releases that are coming that I'm hoping to get my hands on at some point. I don't know. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm very excited about their new tooling, 72 scale B24. So that is a brand that we carry, just not as often as I would like. So we'll see what we can do about that in the future. And Jason, I was speaking about this right at the beginning, and perhaps you weren't tuned in yet, but the Android version of the app is coming. We just had a few hiccups along the way, I guess you could say, and we're just trying to get it to the finish line, and that will hopefully be soon. I don't know when. It could be in the next couple of days, or it may be another couple of weeks. I don't know. We just have an issue that we hadn't been able to sort out yet, but it is coming, so don't worry about that. It'll be there soon. Let's see. Well, that's pretty awesome. The app is a good thing to have while you're on a plane. You can look through all sorts of models, right? Yeah, and Raymond, that's awesome. I'm glad. I'm really glad everybody is enjoying that so far. So hopefully we'll be able to do some really cool things with that going down the road. And hey, John, good to see you, and Kenny, good to see you tonight. Uh, Dennis wants a mini tour of the hobby desk. All right, well, I will do that, but not tonight. Um, I need to plan that out a little bit more. I've got a little camera that I can take around with me over there, and I'll set that up. I'll plan to do that one evening. And what we'll do is, if anybody else wants to join me that evening, I'll show off my hobby desk, show off some of the tools that I use, and then I'd love for some of you guys to join me on the stream. I've got a good buddy of mine that you've seen a couple of times on my show before that's going to join me here in a few minutes. So anybody that wants to join me the night that I show off my desk, I'd love to see your desk. So that'd be a cool evening. So, and Dennis, I'll throw it back to you. I'm gonna show mine. You got to show yours. So if you'd like to do that, I'd love for you to join me that evening, and I'll plan that in one of the coming weeks. I'll figure out which night to do that, and I'll send an email out and invite anybody that wants to join me, and we'll see if we can get a few of you guys to join me for that, and we'll talk about model desks. That'll be cool. All right. Yeah, I'm just going through here. Yeah, that's one of the kits, Raymond, that I need to get like soon. It's already released, and I'm just slow to the game on that one. So hopefully we'll get that in here soon. And yes, the Fort Drum. That is, we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. All right. Well, let me tell you about a few of the uh, things that we've got coming in tomorrow. That's going to be really neat. So you remember the mini art Thunderbolts that came out, the 48 scale kits? Well, they have a new version of it. They have announced several versions of it. And let me pull up my screen here. Here we go. So the first version of it that they did was this guy here, the P47D, the 25RE. They followed that up with I guess, an advanced version, as they call it. Both of those were really popular. And tomorrow we will be getting in the newest version in this series, which is the 30RE version. And this is the base is going to be the basic kit, but they have announced, to no surprise here, that they've got other versions. They've got advanced versions of that coming. And then this is one of the kits that they were just showing off in Nuremberg this week. This is the 30RA version, and this is going to be the advanced kit version box art. But this is really cool. This is a very neat looking, interesting box art to me. So with the advanced version, you get all the stuff to detail out the engine and all that. So it's going to be a nice kit, and I think they've got several other variants of the P47 that they're planning on doing in this series. So I hope you're a P47 fan, because you're going to get a lot of them in this series from Mini Art. So that's going to be neat. One of the other things that's finally coming in tomorrow, they've been released, and we were a little slow getting them, but the A version of the Sally bomber from ICM will finally be here tomorrow, and they did the B version of it a few months ago. We got those, and that was a pretty neat kit. But now you'll be able to get the A model. So that will be here tomorrow. I've got a lot of other things coming from that part of the world. Ukraine, I've got all sorts of new accessories from ResKit coming in. I've got a shipment of Dora wings coming, and there's some new kit in there that it escapes me at the moment, but it's very cool. I forget what it is. I was looking at it earlier today. So you'll just have to wait. It's not on the website yet. I did not take pre-orders for it because I didn't realize it was coming until earlier today when I found out about it. So it'll be neat. But there's a lot of cool stuff, so you'll have to check that out. And then, I mentioned tomorrow starts this huge wave of new products coming in. We've got the 350 scale Midway is finally going to be here. The 48 scale B24s are finally going to be here. The 48 scale Devastators are coming in, Hobby Boss. Oh, what else is there? The Akagi bridge from Border Models with the Kate, or the Kate by itself. Both of those are going to be here. All sorts of stuff. We've got a huge trumpeter restock coming in. That's going to fill some holes of things that have been out of stock for a while. Got just all sorts of stuff coming. So this over the next couple of weeks, it's going to be a nice time. If there's been models that you've been waiting on, or models that you've been waiting for us to get back in stock, we are finally going to have a huge wave of restocks and new kits coming in. So make sure to check that out, and hopefully I've got something for you. And yes, Kenneth, the Ford is included in all that. I believe that will be here tomorrow. No, I'm sorry. That's probably Tuesday. I got so much coming in, I can't remember which day is what thing, but that is coming within the next week. I believe that's unloading this weekend, if I remember correctly. So, and Wes, yes, same cup. I will do my best to try not to spill that this week. All right. Oh, okay. I see how you are. Over or under 20 minutes. Well, I hope you went over because we're there. We're right over. Yeah, the decal line, we still we're still working on it. I have a lot of the designs done. This nose art book that you have heard me talk about that I'm writing along with Peter, who's doing the illustrations. All of the decal artwork that's being done in that book and being showcased in that book through Peter's 3D renders, a buddy of mine named Gabriel is helping redraw a lot of those nose arts. And when I say redraw, we we have the Aeromaster, the Super Scale, and the Eagle Strike decals. We own all of those, but a lot of those sets, the they're fine as far as what's included, but the artwork is outdated. So we're updating all that, and we've been working on this for like 2 years, just about ever since we started back with Squadron, and Gabriel's been redrawing those nose arts for us, and they look fantastic. And then Peter takes those nose arts, he paints the planes in 3D, does a background like the front covers of our in-action books that you've seen Peter do. So it's really fantastic work that these guys are helping us with. And all of those planes that we're doing for this book, we're making decal sheets for, and we've got a bunch of them. The problem is trying to figure out where we're going to get them printed. Now, if I had my cake and could eat it too, we would print them all at Cartograph. But, minimum print runs in the hundreds, and the fact that I literally have hundreds of decal sheets that I am trying to recreate, that gets into a little bit of money. So we're just trying to figure out, okay, do we go that route, but we only issue a few at a time? Well, I've got literally over 1,000 decal sets that we potentially could release. I can't print 500 of 1,000 different decal sheets, and a lot of these things, yeah, a lot of them are cool, but I've got a few guys asking for things that they might be the only person in the world that wants one. So I'm just trying to figure out the best way to go about getting these decals produced, and I just don't know yet. So we are working on it. I do want them. The B24, the 48 scale B24 that's about to finally be released. I've got an awesome 48 scale decal set of Dragon in its tail, ready to go. And like that's the version of the plane I want to build. But it's just a matter of getting it done and figuring out where and how to get it printed, that makes the most sense, not just for one decal sheet but for our entire production, to be able to offer the years and years and years worth of decal that we have the library of. So we'll figure it out. We will figure it out. And James, yeah, the model collect stuff, there's a lot of that is really interesting to me. One of the things that I really like is that what if stuff. And let me see if I can pull it up over here. Yeah, this is the version of that Horton that we're getting first. They've got several versions that they have announced, and we're going to get all of them, but it's just a matter of them releasing them. This is the first version, and they've got, here's some of the others that you can see down here that they've announced. And they've got some really wacky, made up stuff, but it's neat if you're into that sort of a thing. You'll have plenty of different options of flying wings from them to choose from. And somewhere in there was some Japanese version that I thought was interesting. Where's it at? Yeah, look at this. This was interesting to me. So they've got a lot of that kind of stuff coming. Some of it, like on this page, I don't have prices or release dates for any of this stuff yet. They just claim that it's coming down uh, down the line. But these, let me get back over here. The ones that will be here in just a few weeks, it won't be a part of this week's container shipments and whatnot. But these 4 kits here will be coming, if I remember correctly. Not, yeah, these will be coming soon. So all their stuff, I wish they got them produced faster. They have a, I hate to say bad habit, but they have they have a tendency of announcing things and it taking a little bit longer than I wish it would to get them to market. But they're neat, and as long as they eventually come out, that's good enough for me, I suppose. So we'll get them as soon as we can. Let's see. I was just looking at my list here. Those should be here in March, by the way. All right, so we'll move on to this, Mark. Aftermarket stuff for the Midway. So this is, and not just for the Midway, but for any new kit in general. I get asked this question a lot, and not all the time. I don't want to put words in the manufacturer's mouths, but a lot of times the aftermarket companies, they don't get these kits any sooner than the distributors do. And in some cases, I've got a couple of the aftermarket companies that we actually send the kits to them, so they don't get them. They don't even get them until I get them and ship them to them. So there I am. I mean, I am certain there's going to be all sorts of aftermarket stuff for the Midway. This is a very high-profile kit, if we can call it that. A lot of people have been waiting on this subject for a long time. It's 3/50th scale. It's trumpeter. It does have some photo etch included in the kit, but not that much. So I won't be a bit surprised to see aftermarket sets, whether it's Pontos or KA models or Infinity models. I don't know. Heck, maybe they'll all do them, and then you can pick which one you want. But there will certainly be some aftermarket stuff for this. And as far as aircraft goes, chances are, if I had to guess, Trumpeter is going to release the aircraft that are included in the kit so you can buy more of them. But if you're like me and you're wanting different aircraft that are not included in the kit, somebody's going to do them. I mean, they're probably already out there in 3D land somewhere. I know that one of the other things that's coming in this week is that Black Cat models, they've got a whole ton of new 3D printed aircraft that we just got in 3/50th scale, and we're about to get them all in 700 scale, and they are pumping them out left and right. So you'll see those pop on our website soon. I would not be a bit surprised if he does a 3D version of just about every aircraft you could possibly need for that Midway kit. So, and if I can remember to do it tomorrow, I'll actually send him an email and make sure, because that would be his stuff is super, super nice. If you've built any of Black Cat's models, or if you've used any of his 3D printed accessories, they're top shelf, super nice, and his new aircraft sets are no different. So check that out for your aircraft, and then as far as all the other accessories and everything, we'll just wait and see who comes out first, because I know it's going to happen. And Charles, I've got an Academy restock headed this way, but it's probably going to be March before we see it, if I just had to guess. And there you go, David. Talking about Black Cat models, yes, all of his new cutter kits are on the way in the next shipment, probably a few weeks. He like most of the 3D print guys, all of his stuff is print to order. So when we send him an order, he goes to work and gets everything printed up for us and gets it headed our way. Yeah, all the decals, all that old nose art, it wouldn't fly in today's market. It was pretty crude. It was great at the time, but a lot of that original artwork we have is back from the '90s. Heck, maybe even before. But yeah, it's definitely all getting updated. Um, I will pull up an example of one of them that we just finished that I really, really like. This one is. This is one of the B-24s called the oh, where is it at? I've this folder with all this artwork is just massively deep in folders, so I got to remember where things go or where things were. Let's see. The one I'm wanting to show you is called the Bourbon Boxcar, and it turned out really, really nice. If I can find it. Let's see. I will find it in a minute. Daryl, nice to see you tonight. Nice to see you again, Jim. Let's see. So, yes and no. It just we've got guys that handle all of that for us. You know, when we order things, and they know what's going on more than I do, or actually, specifically speaking, containers more than Russ does over at MMD. But really, the biggest thing is just making sure you don't route things that way. But with us, with going all of our containers, we don't get any to the West Coast. All of our containers come to Savannah. So most of the time we're dealing with the Panama Canal. So, that's, like I said, yes and no. I mean, because that affects the overall shipping world, but us specifically, we've not had any direct impact from that. Brian, hey, so that mini craft collection stuff, I'm glad you got those. Was that, if you can answer me in the chat here, was that the first ones of those that you got? Because those things are really, really, really nice. So I'm curious how you like that. And all right, I found this bourbon boxcar picture. I'm going to show you this. Then I'm going to bring my buddy Chris in here and see what he's up to tonight. Let's see. Bear with me just a second while I get this pulled up to where I can show it to you. All right. Nope, that's not it. Stop screen. Share screen. All right, here you go. So there is our new artwork for the Bourbon Boxcar. And that's going to be featured in the nose art book on a render from Peter. And that will also eventually be showcased in a decal set. So that's that. And then, let's see, I'll show you one other example of what we've got that we're working on. There's patched up piece. So you can see really. Oh, Chris, I'm gonna bring you on here and see what you got going on tonight. Let's see. Hey.
What's up, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Glad it's Wednesday.
Yeah. Well, it comes every week, doesn't it?
Yeah, next week we are going to be in Spain and heading there on Wednesday. So 1 week, dude.
Nice. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, have you had any chance to work on any models? You got anything going in the hobby land lately since I talked to you last?
Yeah. A couple years ago, heck, it was probably almost 10. I was working on a Hiei, the pictures I sent you the other night. And it had a bit of a problem. I had a can of paint fall on top of it and basically coat the thing in white. So it was pretty ruined. And my mother-in-law got me a Hiei kit for Christmas a couple years ago as a replacement, and I'm in the process of. But this is the one I sent you the aftermarket of, if you remember.
Okay. Yep.
So we got all the 5-star launches, Type 89 guns, rangefinders, everything. Some shelf Audi bits that I'm going to be using.
Yeah.
And a ton of photo etch. This is not all my photo etch, but this might be a tip for anyone. I use a photo album because you got that sticky layer on there. And sometimes like your fine railings and whatnot that has particularly delicate parts you don't want to put in there because it will stick and it can warp the photo etch if you're not careful. I found that heating it for a second with my heat gun actually kind of breaks up some of that adhesive, but I found it's been really good for actually holding my photo etch in place.
Now, what do you mean? Were you putting them in like page holders or
Yeah.
something?
So it's literally and I just lost something. It's literally a photo
Ah,
album plastic like where you'd stick the photographs, right?
yeah, that's awesome.
So anything that I've opened out of the container goes in here.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great idea.
It's been, I mean, it's a little messier than it used to be. It used to be a lot more organized, but
Now, is that all of your photo etch for like all
no,
your stuff, or is it? I mean, surely that's not one book for one ship.
no, that's wouldn't surprise me honestly. But no, I've got some like those hobby drawer things you can get from Michaels or Hobby Lobby. And
Okay,
I've
okay,
actually got one tub about a gallon and a half wide or full that's about nothing but Japanese photo etch for 1/700.
wow.
So I got another with US photo or USN photo etch. But no, it depends. If it's a kit specific, I'll throw it in the box. If it's something that's generic, I'll either if I'm in the process of using it, I'll use that just because it's easy and it keeps them safe. But other stuff I just put back in the car depending on what it is if I'm not going to use it very often.
Hmm.
But I haven't gotten very far with EA. I mean, I've been chopping bits off the deck.
You're
I
right.
normally like to use wood decks, or I did previously, but they're just unless the kit's made for it, they just look so overscale.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, in 700 scale, that's super small scale.
yeah,
In the all the decks I've seen, and I use them on all of my ships just because I'm lazy and I can't paint wood. But the big and I've done them in 700, I've done them in 350, and I've done them. I did one in 192 scale. Um, but the bigger you get, the more realistic it can look
yeah, absolutely.
because the paper, well, it's not paper, it's wood, but the wood, the thickness of the wood is pretty much the same regardless of which scale it is.
Yep.
So the bigger you get, the more in scale it looks. So yeah, I
Yeah,
see I see more people not use them for 700 scale for that reason than I do in 350 scale. I think it's a lot more accepted for 350 scale because it has the ability of looking more realistic, and even more so in 200 scale. They look fantastic in 200 scale.
yeah. There's a graininess to the wood that you can't really reproduce easily. I
Right.
mean, I've taken what I like to do, like on the PA in this case, is I'll go with a shade lighter than what the wood deck would have been, like a super light brown.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I have a series of colored pencils, and I'll sharpen them as much as I can sharpen them. And I think I saw this on Model Warships years ago. And I'll pick out some individual planks. And it looks really silly when you do it. You're using kind of like a burnt orange, burgundy, different shades of brown. But the whole idea is that I'll do a very thin filter on top of it
Mm-hmm.
and then hit it with a wash.
Okay.
Um, and that does a really good job of giving enough variation to the deck to
I
really,
see.
in the scale, look relatively realistic. The problem is, of course, it's easy to put a big fat splotch on the deck if you're not careful. So you got to keep your pencil sharp, but also realize, I mean, imperfections can actually improve the look of a model in those cases. So, and I
Yep.
have, they're upstairs, but I've got a couple builds where I've done that and I've been real satisfied with it. And I'll probably do that with EA as well. But I have more aftermarket on the way. Um, I need some double barrel, I think it's 25 millimeter AAA guns. Um, and I might lose my mind to get some more 700 scale figures. So,
Yeah. The 700 scale figures. It's always funny when I walk up to a ship like at a contest or something, and you're like, "Wow, that looks really good." And the closer you get, you start realizing that it's got like dozens, if not hundreds, of figures on it, and it's really just makes the whole thing come to life.
there's a guy in 350 who did a Missouri, and he reproduced it man for man of the entire crew on board the ship during the surrender ceremony. The
Oh,
Japanese
yeah.
dignitaries, the American dignitaries, and it's absolutely massive.
Yeah, I remember somebody sold, I think Edward sold that set. They were photo etch figures, but then I think somebody did it in 3D, and it was a massive set of figures. So I'd love
Yeah.
to see one of those done. Yeah.
Um, there's a question in the chat that I got regarding CA glue.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's it's not been like, I mean, if you get some of the Zappa gaps and whatnot, I've had less luck with those. There's a gentleman in Pensacola, John's Models, and he has a brand that he uses that I think he puts a sticker on as well. That I've had luck with. But I've found there a couple of things that make super glue really good. Number one is consistency. Like your medium CA is going to get thicker and more viscous over time. So eventually you're going to want to stop using it because it's just going to end up clumping everywhere. Um, I would be there are other glues that I would use in some cases for as opposed to super glue if you're concerned about appearance. I know that Kenny down in Louisiana had a Gator glue that was real good. I still use it today. The super thin glue is fantastic. It's kind of it looks like an Elmer's. I don't know. I think it's stronger than Elmer's, but it has the same consistency. It's water soluble. So yeah, Brandon's getting a bottle of it. It's water soluble, and it's strong. The only downside is, unlike CA glue, it doesn't set immediately. So if you're doing railing, for example, you might want to take some masking tape and use that as a guide. But once that Gator glue goes on there, it doesn't come off, and it's easy to work with.
Yeah, and it dries clear.
Oh yeah, and it doesn't leave those clumps you see. But if you don't want to use that, one thing I do is using super thin CA. Um, doesn't tend to pool. And depending on your application, it's thin enough where you're not going to see it once you paint and put a dull coat on it. I also really enjoy, not really enjoy, but I like to take some very thin copper wire that I would usually use for either the upper halyards or it's just so thin it's almost like literal wire. I'll take that and dip it in the CA, and I'll use that to apply very small amounts. And that minimizes the amount of glue I use. The only downside is, not really the downside, is you need to clear it occasionally because you end up getting this ball at the end of it. Sorry, Martin Quinn is messaging me about, didn't know I was going to be on here.
You didn't know you were going to be on here either.
I didn't either.
Ago.
I was planning on sitting on my couch and playing games and whatnot. My wife and I started 2 days at the gym again, and I'm beat, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, there's no magic bullet with super glue. I don't think. I think it's just a matter of practice.
Yeah, you got to know whatever you're using. You got to try it and see how it reacts with what you're using it for.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
I'm going to scroll back up the chat for a minute. I'm trying not to leave I always leave people out each week, and I'm going to try not to do that. But I was going to. Is that the Hobby Boss Dora in the back? No, that is the 35th scale Soar Art Dora. So it's quite large.
There is one other thing I want to mention
that's true,
about
Jim.
photo etch.
Yeah, and hey, before you move to that, stay on your super glue for a second because I was going to ask you. Doing the photo etch, that's one thing, but what do you use for glue on your rigging? Because 700 scale rigging is ridiculously small, and you can always. Well, I'm asking you, what do you use, and how do you do that? Because you see it all too often, clumps of super glue at the end of rigging lines. So I've seen your stuff. You don't have that problem. So what are you doing?
Depends on how many times I break the mast.
I guess there's that.
If I'm doing stretch sprue is light enough where, I mean, honestly, matte varnish. I learned that there's a gentleman, Jim Bauman, in the UK who does that with everything, and his ships are, I mean, if there's a master of 1/700 ships, I mean, the dude just Jim Bauman. Go to Model Warships, look at his stuff. Everything he does is photorealistic. And even when you tighten up your stretch sprue with a little bit of heat, it rarely snaps. But I mean, the thing is, like, so if I'm using Infiniline, Infiniline has the frustration where if you attach it to super glue, it kind of turns into a little rat tail at the end. But I'll use thin CA.
Yeah.
And it's a question of patience. You need to make sure that you're deliberate with what you're doing. I do like to, as opposed to just working the very end of a piece of rigging, I'll kind of give it about, a few millimeters on one side so that I kind of use the center of the actual rigging piece. But the side of that you need to make sure you have a really sharp hobby knife. And I mean like fresh hobby knife where you can just take it and cut it without any pressure.
Right.
So that's how I do a lot of rigging. And I mean, if you do end up with glue clumps, I suggest using brass masks because for me, if something breaks and I had a tripod that my little dog was deciding she wanted to jump in my lap when I was building.
Oh, you gotta love that.
Yeah, it was great. She didn't. I mean, she gave me this look like, "Sorry, Daddy, that wasn't my fault," and it was. But I mean, it was. I mean, it completely deconstructed everything I'd done. And I tried regluing it back together, and it looked terrible. Again, if it's brass, a little bit of heat, I'll burn that CA right off and just start again.
Mm.
Um, I do see a UV glue comment. That's actually UV glue is fantastic too if you can get used to it. It's just it's a learning curve that I'm still working on.
Yeah, I've not tried it. So let's see. I'm gonna answer a couple more of these real quick. The mini craft models, they were bought up by Academy, and Academy has just started re-releasing some of their stuff. I assume that they will continue um, re-releasing stuff as we go. So, and Brian, going back to those seats, yeah, I'm glad you like them. So, anybody that has not seen the mini craft world accessories, they are quite amazing when you see those. So mostly aircraft stuff. It's all aircraft stuff. So let's see. Going down through here. Yes, we do have Gator glue at Squadron, and he's actually got two different versions. Chris, do you have his thin stuff as
I only
well?
use the thin stuff.
You don't use the thin stuff?
No, I only use the thin stuff.
Oh, you only use the thin stuff. Okay. Yeah, he's got what he calls his original blend and his thin blend. So here's, I guess, what Chris uses. That's what the bottle looks like now. My bottle is old, but
Same.
it's really nice stuff. It's about $5 or $6.
It's worth every
5.84.
penny of it. I mean, it's cheap compared to like I think I've had my same bottle of extra thin now for almost 6 years and it's still holding up. The thicker glue is good depending on the application. If you're building resin, for example, and you're trying to mend two large parts, I would assume the thicker stuff's probably a little bit stronger. I don't want to speak for Kenny, but for an application like that, it's great. But for the precise photo etch that I like to do, thin means easy to clean.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And if that stuff starts thickening up, I've used water to thin it back down. It's like a white glue, and you can mix water in it. You can make it even thinner if you want. So
I'll do that too.
and I see who you're talking about. It's Dave Waples with the UV glue. You rigged a 2,000 scale ship. Dave, you can send me pictures of that because that sounds nuts.
Yeah, it's mental. Well, I appreciate that.
Oh man. Um, let's see. Yeah, that catches us up on our chat, so that's cool. I've got so I showed you the Fort Drum. So Chris, that's the thing that I started a long time ago and I never finished it, and I pulled it out to maybe finish it, and kind of like your catastrophe on yours, my cage mast fell off and it
Oh no.
busted all up. So I will be rebuilding the cage mast for it. Um, the the new version of the kit has got the same photo etch as it used to. So rebuilding that shouldn't be too much of a problem. And you'll be happy that I'm doing 700 scale again.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm
I appreciate that.
getting this going. Got the paint on it done. This is West Virginia. So I just started putting, I got about half of the 20 millimeter guns on it. I got to move through the rest, and then I've got to get the camo pattern moved up to the superstructure because I hate doing that. But then I got to do all the rails, so that's always fun. And then I'm going to try your stretch sprue, I guess, for the rigging because I've never done that. I've always been scared of it, but it's something that I got to try because every time I talk to somebody about it, they're always telling me how that's the way to go.
It depends on what you want to do. So if you want the realistic sag, stretch sprue is a good way to go, but you have to be the secret and where I ended up moving a lot toward infinity line just out of impatience is and not it depends on what I'm doing. If I'm doing halyards, I'll probably use stretch sprue. If I'm using something which will have a droop, or I want to have a droop, I'll try to use the sprue, just because you're not going to get that out of basically what is it? Nylon thread is what
Right.
that other stuff is. But I mean, it's good to use a mix. I mean, the only problem with stretch sprue is I have a couple models that I built. I have one. You've seen my Erstes York from the Imperial Hobby Kits, right?
I'm pretty sure I have.
Like
I'm sure I have.
I've re-rigged it twice because the sprue just over time it'll just start just for whatever reason it just I'll have it a spider will crawl on the thing and it'll freaking fall apart.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Dave, you said you sent me a photo. Where did you send it to? I was gonna pull it up real quick. If you emailed it to me, which email did you send it to? See which 2000 scale ship he did. Did I send you a picture of that super small scale scratch built ship from Nationals this year? I forget which one it was. It was some Japanese battleship. That was nuts. I forget what scale it was, but
Let's see that.
it was crazy, and it was all scratch built.
I think I know who that is. It Joseph? What's his last name? He he hasn't been really active on social media recently, but I still talk to him occasionally on Instagram, and he does some work that's just it's mind boggling.
Yeah, I don't remember who it was. Ask Martin; he would know. He was with me. We were looking at it together.
Martin has no memory.
Well, in that case, don't ask him. You'll get the same response that I got. And Jim, so there is 2000 scale stuff. I don't know what Dave has yet. I hadn't seen the picture yet, but a lot of the stuff is scratch built. But then outside of scratch building, that's a pretty popular scale for wargaming.
Mm-hmm.
And there's uh, a lot of, I don't even remember the names of them, but I've seen a lot of different wargaming game sets that you can buy stuff. So, um, Dave says he sent it to the Squadron email, but I don't see it. Well, maybe it'll come in a minute. And if it does, we'll pull it up and take a look at it.
I got a question for you, Brandon.
Yeah, what's up?
Since we've all experienced it, what is the greatest disaster you've experienced modeling?
Hmm. Oh, I know. This one was horrible. So, and this was man, probably 10 or 15 years ago. I was building a 1/350th scale Akagi
Oh no,
for a customer.
I know the story. Go on.
Yep. Okay. So this guy, he was a super nice guy, and he was a modeler, but he wanted a very nice Akagi, and he asked me if I would build it for him, and for whatever crazy reason, I agreed. And I spent I don't even remember how long, a very long time building this Akagi. Finally get it done for him. I get it boxed up, ship it to him, and I boxed it. I mean, I've built a few kits for people, and I ship them, and it's usually fine. Well, he calls or emails me pictures, and the whoever I shipped it with, I mean, it's like they drove a steamroller over it. It was absolutely destroyed. It was destroyed more than the real ship was destroyed. I mean, it was bad. And I'm just looking at the pictures of it, of this thing that I had spent countless hours building, and there it laid, just smashed like a, I don't even know how to describe it. It was horrible. So that, and he didn't, I didn't build another one. He was just like, man, I'm not going to ask you to do it again. So I felt bad for that. But that was probably the worst experience that I've had in my own personal model building.
Did I tell you about the Nagato disaster?
No, tell me, or maybe you did, but tell me anyway. I might
All
remember
right.
it, but go ahead.
So I was building a Japanese diorama with ships before they did a bunch of rebuilds on the destroyer because it made them top heavy. The destroyer's fine. I actually built it and completed it. But I was building a 1933 Nagato.
Okay.
And I just attached it to the base. Again, I was real happy with it. And I'm not going to lie, I might have had a drink or two. And I walked
Okay.
over to my wife and I was like, hey, the Nagato is glued on her base. And I decided to demonstrate it by doing that. So of course the ship came off, smashed on the floor, and just exploded. Um, it was fixed-ish, but it's never been the same. And it was one of those moments my wife said that I've never had a more hurt puppy look on my face ever.
Oh,
But yeah, that was exceedingly
yeah,
stupid.
that's bad. Yeah, the couple in the chat over here. So Jim
Oof.
spilled glue all over the sprues of a model. Yeah, and the bad thing about that, I had a bottle of Tamiya thin cement one time, and it had a crack in the bottle, and I didn't know it.
Oh
And a
no.
lot of times, I'll store my glue and my snippers and my knife inside my model kit box. Well, I came back the next day and that glue had spilled out all in there. The bad thing about that cement is it literally melts all the pieces. So, Jim, I know your pain. And this sounds like one of your stories, Chris. Had a cat jump on. Oh man, on his '96 Constitution. That's a big ship. Man, that's there's we could probably have a whole Wednesday night session on horror stories on our builds.
But there is a bright side. What that means is that everyone in this chat, and including me when I bought some of these aftermarket from you, is that it gives people an opportunity to restock.
That's true. As long as I have them in stock, that '96 Constitution, you'd be out of luck. Hey, I got Dave's picture. So here's his
Oh wow,
2000 scale ship.
that's madness. Beautiful. Yeah, that's Joseph's work. I'm almost positive that's Joseph's work. The base reminds me of what he would do. That's a whole other level.
That's nuts. Good job, David.
We got
I'm
some
gonna
more horse
I'm
stories
gonna
in
stick
the chat.
with uh I'm gonna stick with 700 scale and larger. Let's see, James knocked off the display cape. Yeah, I don't even want to get into the horror stories I've heard at the shows. It's there's been
Oh
some really
gosh,
nice ones. Oh, hey Scott. Yeah, this is
oof.
one of our he lives in California, but his family lives here in LJ, so he gets to come by the shop every once in a while. So, yeah, but this is not a cool story.
No.
He lost all of his models in one of those fires out in California. So, uh, but you know, he's rebuilding his collection, and he'll be doing the Wolverine this year. That's awesome. Looking forward to seeing that, Scott. It's good to see you too, by the way.
Hey, I got a question for you. When are you going to release my Massachusetts?
Um, which one? BB2 or yeah?
The really terrible one. Yes, the BB2.
Um, in 700 scale, the one that
Yeah,
I've already released, and you missed out on buying it while it was available.
my bad. You got to understand that I've got like 1,200 hobbies. I've already gotten
Oh,
accepted for what I did to my car
I'm
recently.
just giving you a hard time.
Oh, I know.
It is on the list for this year, along with a few of the other original Blue Ridge kits.
Sweet.
And I've actually got so Sam Bartlett did the master pattern on that. I don't know if I ever told you that.
You did
But
not.
yeah, so Sam Bartlett did the master pattern on it. He also did a second master for the Oregon. So that will be also hopefully coming. We're having a little bit of an issue with our photo etch supplier at the moment, and this is why a lot of the gold medal products are out of stock and have not been restocked lately. Unfortunately, one of the two owners at the photo etch manufacturing plant that we use had a stroke a few months ago. And so he's been out of commission. He is going to make a full recovery, they say. But um, that's kind of put us in a position to where we're not able to get any photo etch at the moment. Um, so as soon as that is resolved, whether he's able to come back to work and make stuff, or whether we, need to move to a different factory, we hope to get the photo etch situation fixed sometime soon. So that's where that's at. So after that gets fixed, you can have your Massachusetts.
I might actually build it too.
Dave Waples says that is an SS Models 3D model that was 2000 scale. And he doesn't recommend it.
Hmm.
Well, you're the one that chose something so small, Dave. But
Yeah, I put something in chat. SS Models has gotten better about it, but they do a lot of piracy. Just
oh, is that who that is? Are
yeah,
they the ones that ripped off our Wolverine?
yes, they are.
Oh, okay. I know who you're talking about them.
The one that I reported to eBay like 12 times, they were like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, eBay doesn't care.
yeah. I mean, the one thing I wish they do, like they had a Sharn horse that's the Combra kit that the kit I got one as a present because my mother-in-law, bless her heart, was like, Sharn horse, here, you like this ship. Um, the masters aren't nearly as good as the original Converg. The only thing that's really good about it is the photo etch set. I mean, I wish they'd been relatively legit because their aftermarket that they include on the kits are usually spectacular.
Right.
And then they're not, imposing on someone's copyright and reproducing stuff that someone worked hard on.
Well, heck, to be honest with you, if he had just emailed me or called me, I'd have probably been happy to work with him because you're right. A lot of I mean, that photo etch set that he did, it's like, look, I had the original design. I would have, worked out some kind of deal where we could work together. But whatever.
Yeah.
So, well, oh, I was going to show you this. I don't know if any of you guys are still getting fine scale modeler, but we finally decided to run an ad, and our first ad came out in fine
Nice.
scale. I just got my copy of this yesterday, so um, we've got a whole nother. I know a lot of people don't read fine scale anymore because you got the internet and all that, blah blah blah. But there's a lot of guys that, for whatever various reason, don't have a computer, don't want to use a computer, and they're still reading fine scale. And we've got this week, man, we've had a whole nother wave of customers that just found out that Squadron's back. And all I've done for the last couple of days is take calls and sell catalogs. So it's always cool meeting up these old guys. They call in and say, "Hey, I've been ordering from Squadron since 1971 or 1969 or whatever," and I'm like, "Wow, that's really awesome." So happy to be able to have those guys back as customers again. So, all right, well, Chris, I'm gonna wrap this thing up. Thank you for joining me tonight. Let's see if we can both get some models built before next time and see what happens. Are you at home right now? Or are you down in Pensacola?
I'm at home. This is my
You're at home.
basement. This is
Okay.
this is the finished part of my man cave.
Yeah. Every time I talk to you, you're somewhere different. So I just didn't know. I guess
Dude,
if I talk to you next week, you're going to be in Spain, right?
dude, I ain't answering my phone. Anyone tries to call me, it's
All right. Well, I'll remember that. I won't call you. How about that? Well, buddy, you have a good trip over there. Y'all enjoy, and I'll talk to you when you get back.
Appreciate it.
Nice to see you, man. Talk to you soon. Well, guys, thank y'all so much for being here tonight. Uh, all this new stuff that's coming in. If you've got pre-orders with us, you've probably noticed emails and activity on orders being updated. We've just been queuing everything up, trying to get everything in line so we can make sure to get these things out to you guys as soon as they come in our door. So we'll be busy the next over the next week or two, getting all that to you. And hopefully, maybe next week I'll have some of the stuff here. I can show you what I think's interesting and take a look and see. And we really will plan to do a show off your workbench session in the next couple of weeks. I'll figure out which night and I'll send an email out. Make sure you're on our email newsletter so you can get that. And what I'll do is, if you're interested, just like when Chris came on here, I just sent him a link. You click it and poof, you're in, and I can bring you in and take you out. And I'd love to have you guys in and see what you use, because I've got my set of tools and types of paints and glues and things that I like, but I'd be interested to see what are you using, because you might be using something that I'd like to try. So that's one of the fun parts of this hobby is talking to other guys about what you do, and tell you what I do, and see if together we can become better modelers. So we'll do that in the next couple of weeks. I hope some of you will join me with that, and we'll see how that goes. So I'm going to say goodnight. And as always, you guys call me anytime. I'm at the shop Monday through Friday. 877-414-0434. You can reach me there. You can email me at info@squadron.com. And of course, our website is always open, and now our mobile app is open, at least on iPhones, and soon on Android. I hope that's going to be sooner than I'm thinking it might be. But y'all have a good evening. Take it easy, and I will see you again next Wednesday. Thanks so much, guys.